here we are. It's a Monday. Literally, today's Monday. And we are shooting some Monday mailbags. This edition is the seafood edition. So some of our members have been talking about this documentary that's on Netflix called Seaspiracy. And there's a bunch of things in there that need to be talked about, and a bunch of interesting things that are happening around the world that there should be a light shown on. The conclusion at the end of that documentary appears to be that the only way forward is to never eat seafood again. I reached out to our fisherwoman, Heidi, who is the proprietor in the Wild Salmon Co, which is out of Juneau, Alaska. We carry these two pieces of fish from her. It's an Alaskan cod and it's a wild Alaskan Coho, which is salmon. We also have carried another version of salmon before too. But these are frozen fillets or frozen, pre-portioned things. And I said to her, hey, a bunch of our members this is through text message, a bunch of our members have seen this movie and they're interested in what can we do? Should we not be eating seafood? Should we not be supporting this? And she texted back and said, I would never eat fish that I didn't know where it came from, even if it was wild caught, because the only fish she really trusts is Alaskan fish. The reason is two or threefold. Number one, there is a board that governs the Alaskan fisheries, and it is super strict on the practices, the fair trade, the way that they treat the sea, the way that they treat the fish, the way that they harvest the fish. So it's like, she's like, there's no other place in the world that it's this governed or this watched over. But because of that, the practices they use are not only sustainable, but regenerative in the way that, like 2 years ago, she said they had the biggest harvest that they've ever had in 130 years of recorded history. So you think about some of these grim scenes of barren wastelands of ocean where there's no activity and no life. That certainly is the case in many places that have been fished that way. But when you are in the waters of some of these bays and the channels in Alaska, they're just teeming with life because of how they've been treated, how they've been maintained, how they've been harvested over the years. The second interesting fact she said to me was that on the salmon, they only harvest salmon that are returning back from where they came from, and they're returning back to die. So as part of the natural progression of things. And so they're only harvesting fish that would be dying otherwise when they get back to where they're coming from, which I thought was super interesting. I just didn't know that. And to think about that as a, kind of one of their staples that they just stand by. And then also you talk about flavor. These are just some of the most fantastic fish. I eat a ton of fish, and always these two varieties from Yellowbird. So the cod is a white fish, obviously, very buttery, very oily. And then the salmon is the coho, and either one of them, I use our various spices from Spice Baby. There's a spicy salmon, there's a sweet salmon, and then there's a Tuscan Sun that I actually put on the cod. These babies are like, if you thaw them, we're talking 12 minutes at 450, maybe 425 in your oven, depending, and they're absolutely perfect. So do not hesitate. We are harvesting sustainably, and I got it on a text message chain from the person who's fishing for the fish, and there's only 2 people on the boat. So talk about direct to fisherman and fisherwoman, direct to consumer, harvested sustainably. It's hitting all the boxes. The Wild Salmon Co. out of Juneau, Alaska. That's your Monday Mailbag.